Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Code Ordinance Enforcement Board meeting for this evening. And at this time, we'd like to ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Rodney Davis.
Here.
Here. Here.
Tony Meacham.
Here.
David Howe.
Here.
Cowan Brooks.
Here.
Connie McGahee.
Here.
Mark Graham.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum, so at this time, we'd like to ask everyone, if you please stand with us as we say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from our January 13th meeting of this year. Board members received a copy of those minutes in the mail. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Moved. Second.
It's been moved and properly second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let it be known by a sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, do we have any reports from the fire department staff? None? Okay. All right, next on our agenda, we got some public hearings. We got 2 hearings on our agenda. So before we'll call those cases up, there are some procedures we need to follow. And so if you bear with me, I will share some information on how we'll proceed, and then we'll call those cases. Okay, once again, good evening, everyone. My name is Rodney Davis. I am the chairman of the City of Hopkinsville Code Ordinance Enforcement Board. The purpose of this board is to protect, promote, and improve the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens residing within the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky. If a board member perceives a potential conflict with the hearing case, he or she shall recuse themselves from the case and will not discuss their disposition. When your name is called, please come forward. Speak loudly and clearly, because we are required to record all proceedings from these hearings. You are here tonight because you received the citation and chose to appear before the board instead of paying the fine imposed on the citation. You have the right to confront and cross-examine any witnesses that might appear here against you. You have the right to call your own witnesses, to testify on your behalf, and to introduce any physical evidence you feel pertinent to this case. You have the right to have an attorney. If you wish to hire one to represent you, let me know and I will request the board postpone your case and enable you to do so. I have the right as chairman of the board to limit the amount of testimony which is presented. That shall be done when I determine that certain testimony is irrelevant or is repetitive. This is not the same as a court of law, and legal rules of evidence do not have to be followed. This is similar to an administrative hearing, and the requirements for the introduction of evidence are not as stringent as in a court of law, but they are nonetheless just as important to ensure a just decision. You shall be afforded all rights of fundamental importance to comply with due process standards of fairness and justice. The burden of establishing a violation occurs rests with the city. If the city cannot prove a violation took place, no fine or remedial measures may be imposed. After all the evidence has been introduced and the hearing has been closed, the board will make a decision. The board will decide whether or not a violation of a local ordinance has been committed. If the board determines no violation was committed, then this board will enter an order dismissing the citation. If the board determines that a violation did take place, the board will enter an order upholding the citation and will order you to pay a fine in an amount up to the minimum authorized by ordinance and may order you to remedy the violation within a specified period of time. In cases involving unsafe structures, the board, as part of its decision and written order, may additionally make a provision for the offender to cure the violation within a period of time not to exceed 90 days, pursuant to HCO 33.188F. Except in cases of default, any final order issued by the board may be appealed to the Christian District Court. The appeal must be filed no later than 30 days from the date the board issues its final order. The case in front of the Christian District Court will be limited to a review of the record created before this board. If there are any questions at this time, please feel free to ask. Okay, all right, so we will call our first case. Our code officer is Mr. Tommy Holloman. Holman?
Yeah.
Holman? Okay, Mr. Holman, can you come forward? And our first case is case number CEZON 25-02-001. Is there a Eugene H. and Maria S. Hoover present? You'll be speaking for them? Okay, sir. Okay, well, I'm going to let the code officer present their case first, and we'll call you forward, okay? All right. Hey, I noticed you don't look nothing like you. Okay. Pete, can you please state your full name, employer, and position for the record?
Peter Wood, Community Development Services, and I'm Chief Building Inspector.
Okay, Mr. Wood, can you tell us about this first case on our agenda?
Yes, sir. This has been brought
Oh,
to you.
I'm sorry. Hold on, Mr. Wood. I forgot to swear you in. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
Okay. All right, now you can proceed.
All right. This has been brought to you all before. This is a zoning violation on Russellville Road. Here's the map of where it's at. At the top there is Western State, and just to the kind of northeast is Western Hills Golf Course. This was, to give you all a timeline, since it's been a while on this one, this was when it was first in violation. You can see the camper there, storage buildings, some of the trailers. This is later in the year, same situation, some what appear to be junk vehicles. We're bringing this to you because under Chapter 158, Appendix A, the Schedule of Uses, regarding storage yard and a dwelling unit, the storage yard is only allowed in an I zone. This is a B4 zone. Dwelling units are only allowed in a B4 by conditional use. A dwelling unit, you see the definition there, but the main part of this one is, but should not include house trailers or recreational vehicles. It's been brought to our attention that the camper there is being occupied. The definition of a recreational vehicle there further defines the camping or travel trailer. Those are only allowed in a camping area, which is only allowed by B4, or in a B4 by a conditional use permit, which this does not have. This is a repeat offender. This started back in February of last year, almost a year ago. And you see the dates that the citations were issued on 3/19, 7/11, 8/26 of last year, and I'm put the wrong date on that, 1/7 of this year. Here's where the citation was posted this year. Here's a brief timeline of it. We received the complaint, went out and did an inspection, issued an NOV. Then where we've issued the citations, this is the fourth one, and we got the hearing request on the 19th. And there's the property as of today. I know it's kind of short and sweet, but y'all have any questions?
Yes. So first, you mentioned conditional use permit. Can you explain to the board what that is and how does that apply here?
If you wanted to make that lot, that entire property, a camping area to where you could have campers there, you could apply for a conditional use permit through our office, which fill out an application, go for a hearing for a board, and if they approve it, then yes, you could have a camping area.
Okay, and so you saying this is zone B4, did I understand you
Yes,
say
sir.
that? And that's zoned for dwelling, but not camper dwelling, is that what I understand?
It's zoned business, is what it's zoned.
It's zoned for business,
Business,
okay,
yes.
it's zoned for
So
business.
to have,
So-
to go all the way down the line, like I said, we believe that the camper's being occupied. Well, you can't have a camper as a dwelling unit, first.
Okay,
Second, even if it is a camper in there, you can't have a camper unless it's in a campground.
okay. And then one final question from me, the board members may have other questions. I see other vehicles, look like they're abandoned, look like they're not operational. Is that part of this case also, as far as,
You're not doing it? Darnell's taking care of that,
okay, that's another,
yes.
okay, we don't need to concern ourselves with that. Okay, all right, board members, do any of you have questions for Mr. Wood?
Yeah, let's go back to that picture before this one. No,
Okay.
with the citation, yeah,
Oh,
back,
right
right
there.
there.
Yes, sir.
That was the day you issued the citation, correct?
Yes, sir.
On that day, was this technically in violation?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And why, tell me, go through it on this particular day, in this picture, especially on the right side, what's in violation that you see here?
Unfortunately, you don't see all of it. The main thing is that trailer from the tractor trailer there.
Yes,
in
sir.
the back. And then the camper is still there. Like I said, unfortunately, the picture did not catch that, but the camper's there. And like I said, we've been led to believe that it is being used as a residence.
Okay. Do you have a better picture of that, trailer with that camper in it?
Not on that day. I do have, well, the camper's not in the trailer. Here, let me go back.
Wait, there's
There's the camper.
Is that camper still there?
Yes, sir.
Is that camper
Yes,
still there today?
Yes.
Okay.
And then there's the trailer.
And then show me today's picture. And that blue roof back there that's the camper with the American flag flying above it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? from board
Yeah,
members?
I've got a question, just to try to make sure I'm understanding correctly. I think you're saying there's two issues that one is the storage of these miscellaneous things, being the tractor trailer unit, inoperable vehicles, which you said is going to be handled under a different citation, I believe. And the camper, even if it were just a stationary camper not being used as a dwelling unit, the storage of these things qualify as a storage yard.
Yes.
And that's not allowed in a B4 zone, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's one part of it. And then the other part of it is that in a B4 zone, you are allowed some residential uses. Like you said, mobile home was allowed, but RV camper is not, right?
A dwelling unit on this one on B. A dwelling unit, if you want to put a house on there, you could put a house in a B4 by conditional use permit.
But not a house trailer or recreational
No.
vehicle, which this is.
Not a single one, no.
Okay. I follow. Thank you.
Okay.
So, Mr. Wood, whatever does not fall under this particular zone would have to go. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Was there a violation posted there on that property?
Yes,
For
sir.
the same thing for the zoning?
Yes, sir. There's been 4 of them posted.
But there was also one posted for the vehicles also.
That would be, Darnell would answer.
But
that one.
that's two separate?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Another question. So this property has been cited in the past. Has there been any action done by the property owners in the past to abate any of this or be in communication with the city regarding?
Unfortunately, I can't say anything up until just recently. The gentleman
Okay.
came in and talked to me twice in my office about it, wanting to know about the hearing, things like that.
Okay.
But as far as communication past that, I can't speak to that. Tommy would have been the one to talk to him.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Yeah, the only other question I have, so on this property, what does abatement look like? Is it just the RV camper and the trailer, or are there other things that have got to go?
There are several other things that would, let me see if I can find. The storage building there on the right-hand side, the other trailer back there, the white trailer back there in the back. It's pretty much everything would have to.
Okay.
There are several different trailers there, things like that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from board members?
So you, Mr. Wood, you have a list of everything that has to go, and you have another list of everything that can stay, and you and the property owner are clear on that?
We have not printed out a formal list, no, but we could do that, yes,
I'm
sir.
just not certain, Mr. Chairman, what all we're voting on and what we're not voting on. I'm a little confused on it, I guess.
Yeah, I think David, and his question was pretty good, because I was looking at that too. What constitutes abatement? And I think he's explained that to us as best he can right now. He doesn't have it letter for letter like items A, B, C, like a listing, but he can visually look and say that trailer, that storage building, those things are things that needs to go. And I'm assuming he would communicate that to the property owner at the appropriate time when it comes to that.
Yeah, we did not just go on the property and go wandering around and looking at everything. We just got the general pictures. If they would like to talk to us about it, yes, we'll be glad to go out there and meet with them, walk through it, and go item by item, yes.
I was looking at this picture that we've got up here now. There's an electric pole. It's got a green inspection sticker, and I'm looking down the ground. I see a yellow extension cord. Is that running over to the camper to power the camper? Do you know?
I would believe so, but I cannot state that as a fact.
Okay, any other questions from board members? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, sir, you can come forward. Let me first begin by swearing you in, okay? You, please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do and always.
Okay. Sir, can you please tell us your name and address for the record?
My name's Bobby Billyou, Billyeu, at 2375 Russellville Road. I'm also known as Cowboy through the city. I do a lot to help people.
Okay, you said Mr. B, is that how it's pronounced?
Billyou, Billyeu.
Billy. Is that-
Billyou.
Okay, Billy, okay. And they also call you Cowboy?
I go by Cowboy.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, Mr. Billy. Okay, so are you what's your relationship to the Eugene H. and Marie S. Hoover?
I've been knowing the Hoovers for a long time. Started out buying melons from them. I had a store or little produce stands around whatnot. I come from out of the county into the city to do business, which I still do. I serve a lot of people around to help them
Okay,
out.
so they're friends of yours?
Yes, sir, and they offered to help me out, as graceful people as they are.
Okay,
You know, they seen something in me to do this, or otherwise, you know, they wouldn't have gone that route.
okay, now do they know, or have they given you permission to speak on their behalf on this case?
Ben's, I know this was their property, but it was my, also, because Mr. Hoover bought it from me, but I had to make him payments. But it's actually my property, the stuff, the vehicles, the camper, the semi-trailer, that's all my stuff. And yes, he does.
Okay, and so they're like purchasing the property from you, but the items are yours
Yes, sir.
on the property?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I guess we don't have any. Okay, Mr. Billy, tell us about this property and these items that we've been discussing today.
The property, Mr. Hoover had offered to buy me some property around. We looked around, and I had my eye on this piece for some time, which was owned by the Morrises, actually by John Michael Morris. I did not think that the Morrises would actually sell any property, so he sifted around and yes, found out they won't. He went and talked to Ramsey Morris. Ramsey Morris was no longer interested. The place was all growed up. It had an old trailer on it. Nobody was saying nothing there. We went in, we cleaned it up. I brought my stuff in, had bought a semi-trailer to store my stuff in. Then, of course, I slept in my truck there for the longest time. Didn't nobody have a problem with that. One thing's led to another. Well, Mr. Rusty Powell, that's when they started citing me. So I come in and talk with us. I was new about all this, and he said, well, I was allowed to store stuff there. Well, wasn't too long after that, he calls me back and said, I ain't allowed to have nothing there. So I've been lied to through this whole, the people of this stuff, and, you know, neglected out on things, and it's abused me quite a bit. I don't really have nowhere to go, and I'm not trying to be homeless out on the street. I have photos of all the homeless where they've left messages around, and I've made my complaint about it, and nobody's doing nothing about it. Western State has the same thing. Ramsey Morris has the same thing. I don't know who to trust around here, to tell you the truth, sir. I really don't. I really want a lawyer here to represent me of this. I want a continuance of it. Everything happened so fast, it's set back. I don't really know when to go off, you know, out of the way with things and tie your time up, but I feel like I've just been harassed about the whole thing, and it's sad that when, you know, you say a person can sleep on the ground, but they can't have no camper there. It's just a mess all the way around, sir.
Okay, so, sir, let me ask you, so you're aware of the previous citations that this property has received?
I am.
Okay, and you...
And I did have checked into them.
Okay, and are you saying it's your testimony that the city, even though you were previously cited, you've been cited for this property before, they gave you permission to remain on the property, sleeping there, storing your items there?
No, actually, they threatened to come in and start pulling my stuff out. And our dad's ashes are right here inside that camper. And I was just feared somebody coming in and touching my dad's and dragging him away. I fly this American flag in my yard, as you see in the back. I sit there proudly. I go to work in the mornings. I come in. I'm a logger. I have hard times.
Okay,
I feel like I have mental issues at times, but I deal with my own stuff.
okay, sir, but I just want to get clear, because you said you've been lied to, and that's a pretty strong accusation
Yes,
that the
sir.
city does.
Yes, sir.
So are you saying you spoke with people to represent the city,
Yes, sir.
that at one time they gave you permission to reside there and store your items there?
Rusty Powell said I could store the stuff there. He also told me I couldn't sleep in a tent there. I couldn't sleep in a truck on my own property, but I could lay on the ground and sleep.
Okay, you're saying Rusty Powell, okay.
Also, I spoke with Mr. J.R. Knight, which I see he's not here tonight. He'd spoke with my brother-in-law and he was going to see about getting me grandfathered in, because there's other campers right there within me on the same zoning area, and I guess it's all right for them, but just not for me. I feel like my property is being trying to be stolen.
Okay, I guess my other question is, you mentioned about an attorney, the possible continuance.
If I could, please, sir, I hate to tie everybody's time up,
Well-
but I feel like I don't have the education of whatever, and then there's still a lot more to this, you know?
Yeah, I think your request for continuance should have come before you've called this hearing. But
I'm new to this.
Because we're here now
I
discussing it.
understand. But the people I had spoke with don't seem to be here, other than a couple of them. And I shook hands with them, and I feel bad, you know, on that part.
Yeah, I don't think they're required to be here, sir, as long as the city presents the case. Do you- Okay, so our city attorney just shared with me it was Eugene Hoover that requested the hearing.
I had him do that, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, it looks like we might need to hear from him.
To protect their ways for life, I don't, you know, why I'm saying this is my problem, I wanna deal with it my hand, you know, my voice. I understand, you know, but you gotta respect their religions and way of life as well. You
Well,
don't have to, but I mean, I just asked that you did, and that, you know.
yeah, I hear what you're saying, sir, but being that Mr. Hoover is listed as the property owner,
I know this.
and we're here,
Yes, sir.
and he's not here
He
to
is
speak.
here.
Oh, Mr. Hoover is here.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hoover, would you mind coming up and talking to us, or is there a problem where he can't speak to us? I mean, we don't bite.
I don't wanna drag you in this, you know, you don't have.
I mean, well, sir, we need to know with you letting him speak on your behalf. He's saying a whole lot. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, Mr. Billy, you said something just a second ago about respecting their religion, and I'm not sure that we caught everything you said in that statement. Are you saying that there are religious reasons that he doesn't want to speak to this
Well,
body?
it's
Because
just
if
they
that's what
don't-
you're saying, we want to respect that. I just want to make sure that we understand what you're saying about
Right,
that,
right.
so we can respect that. You
I'm
follow
not
me?
saying that they don't get into the public of the things, you know, for whatnot, if they have to go to courts, I'm not saying that they don't.
Okay.
But, you know, I think for the better part, they don't like to get too mixed up into our world of things.
Okay,
And
I
no
wanted to make sure
disrespect.
that,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I
yeah.
had an understanding what he was
Yeah.
saying about, you know, if he had religious reasons he didn't want to step forward and speak to us, then I don't want to step on that, is where I am on it.
Appreciate that, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if we could just get it on record
Okay.
that Mr. Hoover just gives him permission
Yes.
to go ahead and speak on his behalf.
Yes,
then we
that's
can go
what,
from there.
that's kind of what we need. If Mr. Hoover, if we can get you on record to say that you're giving him permission to speak on your behalf, that you are the property owner and you're giving him the permission to speak, and we can continue on from there. Are you okay would you mind coming to the podium to make that statement? Okay, let me first swear you in if you don't mind. Will you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
And can you state your name for the record?
I'm Eugene Hoover.
Okay. And Mr. Hoover, are you giving Mr. Billy? Okay. Billy. Okay. Permission to speak on your behalf about this property?
Yes, I do.
Okay, sir, thank you. Okay, so we're back to where we are. So we're here because Mr. Hoover requested this hearing. And I believe we're gonna need to take some action on it tonight. Now, I guess we could allow a continuance if you felt you have some more information, you have an attorney, you have someone else can bring more information before us that will help support your case.
Yes, sir.
I think we can do that. We can,
Once that request is made, there just needs to be a motion and a second to continue until the next meeting, and if it's the will of the board, then it can be continued.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to put this off to our next meeting to give him time to get some legal counsel and to be back here at our next meeting, and we'll address it then.
Second.
okay, it's been moved and probably second that this case will be continued on our next meeting. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let it know by a sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, sir, we be looking for you at our next meeting. We'll try to get it scheduled. You might want to just touch base with the fire department, the city, to make sure, the date, the time, and everything is in line. But hopefully, within that time, you can gather information and bring someone else maybe to help support your case
Let
to
me,
her.
let me make one more comment. Mr. Hoover probably needs to show up also, so he probably need to give you permission again to speak on his behalf.
Yeah, and I think that's okay if he did it in writing, too, and if he brought
That would be beneficial.
if he was just to give you a written letter saying that he's giving you permission to speak on your behalf.
If you did
Okay.
it that way, Mr. Hoover wouldn't have to come to the mic.
Yeah, Mr. Hoover
right?
would,
Well, yeah.
yes, Mr. Hoover would not have to come back
Yeah.
to this hearing if he give you a written signed note saying that he's giving you permission to speak on his behalf,
Yes, sir.
okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, okay, so until then, we're going to postpone this hearing, okay? Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all, Councilman Ocean.
Okay. Okay, we're going to move on. The next case on our agenda, it's CE BPM -25-11-001. Christina Parker. Is Ms. Parker? Okay, all right, okay. Okay, sir, we're going to let the code officer speak first, and then we'll call you forward, okay? Okay, Mr. Wood, you've been sworn in, and so can you tell us about this next case on our agenda?
Give me just 1 second here.
Okay,
Okay. Again, I apologize, I'm not 100% familiar with all this. This is a possible junkyard on Jordan Street. Here's the map of it. It's just there off of Sanderson Drive. There's also a building there that was built without a permit. This is showing some of the vehicles there. And then if you can see back in the very back, behind the 2 trucks, there's that newer building.
Peter, would you go back to the map view, please, for just a second? So you've highlighted the property, and our viewpoint in that other picture is from Jordan Street, right? Kind of looking up
Yes, sir.
that gravel drive.
Yes, sir.
Is there a residence there?
I do not believe so. I believe it's next door,
Okay.
the next lot over, or to the or west, the 205.
The 205 is the residence, and this is like a vacant lot?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
it looks like an A-frame type building on the back of that lot.
That's I will show you a better picture here
Okay, okay,
shortly, but if you can look.
okay, yeah, you can go ahead and continue.
Okay. This is where it was first inspected in violation. Here's where we're talking about the building. You were saying that A-frame. Got this from Google Earth. The picture on the left is from 2022. Picture on the right is from 2025. And during that time, we did not receive anything to have a building permit issued for that.
Okay.
Here's our definitions about a salvage yard. It can only be in an I zone by conditional use. The salvage yard, which we're considering this, there's 3 or more vehicles there. cannot be any closer than 500 feet from a residential district. This is right in the middle of a residential, an R3. Look at the storage garage, repair, service, anything like that is not permitted in an R3 district, and a failure to obtain a building permit. Here's where the citation was posted, and on the right side, if you look back, you see the white truck, there's that building. Here's our timeline. Started on 11/17 of last year. Did an inspection, NOV was issued the next day, and then the citation was issued on the 9th of this year. Again, there's the building. This is as of today, and there's still several vehicles there. Do y'all have any questions?
Okay, so do you know if vehicle repairs are taking place on this property or not? I mean, they're not advertising as a repair shop or anything as far as you know, is that correct?
Not that I know of.
Okay,
That's not a residential building. They're not living in it.
No, sir, not
Okay.
that I know of, no, sir.
What is the zoning there?
R3.
R3. So
which
you
is
said-
residential?
Right, so the building was built sometime between 22 and 25. I don't remember the date stamps you had on those aerials.
I'm sorry?
The date stamps that you had on the aerials, the building was built sometime between 22 and 25, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but no permits were pulled for that?
No, sir. And probably wouldn't have been allowed because in an R zone, you can't have a storage use and without a primary structure. If they had a residence there, yes, you could build a storage building, but just a storage use, no, you can't do that in a residential.
Would that be considered a storage building? Or
That's
more?
what we're looking at it as, because like I said, I don't know. Again, unfortunately, Tommy talked to him, he's dealt with all this, so I don't know the conversations in there.
Right.
So I would, just for me, and not to make it any worse than it might be, I'm gonna say a storage.
And the remedy for that would be to disassemble it?
The remedy so far is the cars have to be removed, and we're gonna have to figure out something on the building. That's another one of those, if they come in and talk to us, we'll see what we can do. Flat out, yes, by the letter of the law, yes, it had to be taken down.
Am I right that even if it were a residential building, it would have had permit, right? A construction permit that would have gone through your office?
Yes.
That doesn't exist. And if it's not, just the two garage doors, if that's considered commercial, then it's not allowed in general, right? Even if it, yeah. Okay.
Could it be considered, just a garage?
There again, that would be a storage use.
Considered storage?
Yes.
And that's because there's no residence, right? Okay. You can't have the accessory structure without having the residence.
Yes, sir.
That building looked to me like it's fairly well constructed, that you had to have somebody, in the trades of construction to put that building up.
Yes, sir.
Which raises the question for me, like, wouldn't the people, the framers or whoever that worked on that, wouldn't they have a requirement to be involved in the permitting process to, or ensure that's done before they start a construction like this?
They're supposed to.
Okay. Because it looks like they had to have somebody with two pretty big, garage doors. And that's not just a handyman gonna put all that together. The siding, the roofing, I'm sure it probably has electrical power, may have water. So a lot of people close their eyes on this, I guess.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You said that one property, I think the 205, you said it was also the same property owner?
I believe so, yes, sir.
If they combine those two properties, could they,
That may, without talking to the planners, that may be a possibility. That's what I say, if they want to come in, we'll try to work with them as much as we can, of course.
Okay, any more questions for Mr. Wood, board members? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, sir, you can come forward. Okay, let me begin by swearing you in. Do you swear, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, or so say I do?
I do.
Okay, can you please state your full name and address for the record?
John David Parker, 203 Jordan Street.
Okay, and Mr. Parker, can you state your relationship to Christina Parker?
That's my mother. And her maiden name now is Christina Gillingham. It's been Gillingham for the last 8 or 9 years.
Okay. Just hadn't been changed on the
And we used
property records. you
Yeah,
know.
we used to own the 205 Jordan Street, but we don't own that no more. We sold it about 8 or 9 years ago.
Okay, so y'all don't own 205 anymore, okay. All right, okay, Mr. Parker, can you tell us about this lot that y'all do own here that we've been discussing?
Yeah, it's not I don't work out of it or nothing. I do live there. I haven't hooked up power or water yet. And I just misunderstood on the permit thing because it's a pre-built building. I had a company put it up. So I just misunderstood on that part of it probably too. But I did have American Steel, which is a whole building company,
Yeah.
come in and put it up. It's been about a year, right at a year, I'd say in about a week or so.
Okay, so it's a prefab building that American Steel puts up.
Yeah, I have all the paper. I should have brought all the paperwork with me, but I got it all at home.
Okay, and that was done about a year ago.
Yes, sir. I can actually pull up some photos.
Okay, and you saying you're living on the property? Are you living inside that building?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Okay, do you have water, power?
I haven't had water
Okay.
and power hooked up yet, no, sir.
Okay, and is it your plan to have that done,
I was planning on it, yes.
and are you looking at that being a
I was
permanent
gonna-
residence for you?
I was gonna have that as like the temporary living home, and I was actually gonna get some more money up and have a house built on the property as well, was my original plans.
Okay. Okay,
But
Now-
I don't work out of the shop. I am a mobile mechanic, but I don't work out of over there. I just live there and I just work on them. I just got a bunch of cars. I've got 8 trucks myself.
okay, and so are you storing vehicles within that?
The only
The buil-
vehicles that I would consider storing are my uncle's 3 that are actually in that right-hand photo.
Okay,
Looks like a lot more than 3 on this.
It's those
Yeah.
3 and just 2 right there on the other photo.
okay, so what's the plan for these other vehicles? Are you,
I was
Looking
actually talking to my uncle about those because he hasn't had any interest in them, and I was going to have him move them or do something with them because I'm honestly tired of looking at them.
okay, so these vehicles are owned by your uncle?
The 3 on the right are, and the other 2 are owned by me.
Okay,
And you put those 2 big garage doors on that building, or telling us you don't do any mechanical work in there?
No, sir. One side is where I live at, and the other side I just park the truck in, which is my truck. And then I actually moved 3 other of my trucks over to my girlfriend's house, just so it wasn't nothing said. Because I do have 7 or 8 trucks myself that run and drive. I just collect vehicles. I'm a car guy.
Just
you know.
out of curiosity, how big is that building?
It's 28 by 30, 28 by 30 or 40 or something like that.
One question I have is, American Steel Construction, so it's a prefab building that they came out and erected for you. Did they ask anything about permits? Did they ask?
Nothing was said, no.
Okay. Most contractors are gonna be pretty quick to ask and
Yeah,
make,
it was like
make
like,
very sure
From my
that,
understanding, it was like a side company, like it was American Steel that I bought the building from, and they financed through another company to have the people come and put it up. So it's like, you know what I mean? So I don't really know what they do there.
the other thing that's giving me trouble is you said that you park your truck in half of that and then you live in the other half, but you don't have water or power. So, how's that work?
I live there.
No lights and no toilets?
I go to my girlfriend's house and clean clothes and stuff like that. Because I can't, the main reason I live in there, because I can't have my dogs at my girlfriend's house. So I just stay there so I can have my dogs.
Where's your girlfriend's house?
205 Navajo Trail.
Did you plumb it and rough in?
No, I haven't
electric?
had anything plumbed or electric, nothing. The American Steel come and put it up, and that's how it is now.
And it's on a slab?
A slab of concrete, yes, sir.
I have a hard time getting plumbing in there.
And so you're saying your intent is to build a house on this property?
Yeah, there used to be a house, right, you can actually see the front porch in this upper left-hand photo there. It used to be a house there, and I was planning on building another one there. when I got
And then this would be like a garage?
Yeah, to the house.
To the
but it would
house.
Still have water to it. It'd be a garage with water and a toilet, you know. I just haven't had the extra money to, you know what I mean, get the plumbing and the electrical work done.
I don't know how expensive those buildings are, but it seems like you got things a little out of order. You know, when you're gonna build something like that you're gonna stay in, like you said, you should have been thinking about having it plumbed for your water and electricity. Or downsize the size of the building, I don't know.
There's no power to that building.
No, sir.
You lift those doors up?
Yeah, they're just like storage building doors. They're just like the roll-up doors. I mean, one hand. It's got a side man door on it.
Seems like it'd be hard to do much of anything in there without power.
I mean, I sleep there.
And
I'm not
your
a video
dogs
game
are,
guy.
and your dogs, you keep them in there also?
Yeah, off over on the right's actually a dog pen for them when I'm not there. Or when I'm gone working, and they stay inside with me when I'm there.
Okay, anything else you want to share with us about this property or whatever, anything you hadn't told us, that we need to consider or
No, not unless y'all want to know anything else.
interesting?
I've got a question for you. You said 203 Jordan Street is your residence?
Yeah, that's this
If
address
you-
here.
That's that building?
Yes, sir. That's the address we're looking at now, is 203.
In the picture that Mr. Woods showed us earlier, there was a property 205 to the, if you looking from Jordan Street, it'd be to the left of it.
Yes, sir.
But they sold that years ago.
They sold that property. That does have a house on it.
Yeah, because actually, right before I built the shop, I stayed there in a camper trailer. And I stayed in it for, 5, 6 years.
I guess where I'm going, Mr. Parker, is I'm trying to think of a creative way that you could back your way into this being a shop or something that would possibly be able to be permitted, and that you would have to have a primary residence on the property, which would mean you would have to consolidate. Of course, you're always gonna have a problem with that not having permits on that building, you know, that
Yes.
part, you're gonna have to somehow kind of find a way to. But I guess what I'm trying to ask you is there an adjacent tract of land that has a house on it that you own?
No.
Okay, thank you, that's the answer to my question.
So is there a way to resolve this citation if all the cars are removed and he comes down to CDS tries to get something worked out on the permit that wasn't obtained at first, to allow that?
Yeah, I mean, they're more than welcome, come look at it, I mean, pretty much how American Steel put it up is how it sits now. I haven't done I'm not no construction guy.
But my question is, it's a possibility, if he comes down and works something out with you, to get either a waiver for not getting the permit when he should have, to, issue a permit.
Is there a time frame I have to have the electrical and plumbing done? Yeah, no. No, I guess I might have just understood, because it was pre-built building, it's just anchored to the concrete, it's not like a wood structure. So I kind of thought it was like more like a carport type deal. So I never asked too much questions. So I guess I should ask more questions before.
Or they
Yes,
should have, or your contractor should have asked you too. Somewhere along the lines, there was, somebody dropped a
Drop the ball, yeah.
pretty
So-
important ball.
I had some Amish people do the concrete, and then American, like a few months after that, American Steel come in and put in the building.
Well, we're not going to resolve all this tonight, I don't think. The board's going to have to consider what's before us and whether there's a violation or not. Now, the abatement side, I think is something that's going to have to be worked out between the property owner and the city. They might, and I think we just leave it in their lane. If they might say, hey, take it all down, clear it all out, or they might say, we'll work something else out, get a permit after the fact, I don't know. But I don't think we're gonna solve that tonight.
Doug, will they have to bring that back before us if they cannot get something worked out?
It could be brought back at a later date.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Parker from board members?
No,
Okay.
am I gonna need to have my mother come down? She is the one that owns the property.
Well, we're gonna make a decision tonight as far as whether this is in violation or not. Because it's been cited, and we're here, we, took our time to listen to your case. And so, and so we're gonna make a decision on the property now. As I said, as far as the abatement, you and your mother need to be working with the city on, okay, what's next? We can't make that decision. We're gonna say it's in violation. Well, I'm not gonna say we're in it. We're gonna make a decision. And if we decide it's in violation, you gotta work with the city from then on. I can't tell you what they're gonna do. They may not be sure they're gonna do. They might tell you, hey, take it all down, clear the whole lot off. They may have another plan that they can work with you on. On that, I think your mother does need to be involved. And like the city attorney says, it might be another follow-up citation that comes to us as a repeat offender. If you don't do it in a timely manner, we don't know. But we're only going to decide on this case that's before us tonight. But in the future, I would make sure your mother is involved in the discussions and know what's going on.
She's up to date on all of this.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, well, thank you, sir. All right. Okay, we're going to close the hearing on this case so the board can discuss in open session a couple of things we need to do. First, we need to determine if a violation existed by motion and a second. But the floor is open now for discussion. or entertain a motion in a second on whether there is a violation that took place.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the city has met their burden of proof that a violation has occurred.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and probably second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, now we need to determine the,
The marker who's leaving, right?
oh, yeah, hold on, sir. We're gonna make, it might be some, maybe some paperwork we need you to sign. Okay, so if you can have a seat and hold on for a few seconds. Okay, so now we need to determine the penalty for this case. And okay, and the fine would be $200 to $400, $200 to $400, plus there's a $200 administrative fee. So for the penalty and whether there's any other abatement or whatever else instructions we want to give to the city. But the floor is open for discussion or entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to maybe begin a little bit of discussion on it. There's two different issues. There's the junkyard, there's the vehicles and storage of things that aren't allowed to be stored in that zone. So that remedy is pretty straightforward. Make them go away, right?
Okay.
The building is there, and I know that without a permit, it can't be. And I also know that it always puts CDS in a bind when you've got to retroactively come get a permit on something that has been constructed but wasn't permitted. It puts them in a bind. It happens, but it puts their butt in a crack. But it seems to me that the only way to make that building work is that it's got to be classified as a residence. And in order to do so, it's got to have a permit, a building permit for that. So that's just kind of where my mind is what remedy can we require? I know we got a fine, we're going to issue a fine and a administrative fee, but like what remedy is there? And is it, initiate the process with CDS to attempt to get that permitted, to begin the process to attempt to obtain a construction permit for that residence?
I agree with you there. That's the big thing. I think the cars having to be moved is smaller of the issue. I'm not a construction guy, but I can see that maybe a contractor, someone there, if they can get a permit to turn this into residential, can cut some of that concrete floor out where you can run plumbing and electric into that space and then seal it back up through that concrete slab. If that's something that's could be done. So maybe our instruction might be to say the abatement has to involve making that building into residential. And if it can't be done, maybe it needs to be taken down. It's just anchored to the slab,
I have another question. I know it's probably not likely, but can this property be rezoned?
I doubt that.
No.
It's right.
Okay.
If you looked at that,
Okay.
Yeah, if you
I
looked at
didn't
that-
think so, but I thought of that.
yeah, if you looked at that aerial picture he showed of the whole neighborhood,
Yeah.
it's homes
Right,
all around
it's
there.
right in the middle.
Yeah, it's right smack in the middle of.
Okay.
So I don't think rezoning is,
I thought that might be a
yeah.
quicker solution.
Yeah,
but
BZA
I
would slap
didn't-
that one down.
Well, and he said something possibly about building a house or a residence of some type on that property. That's something you can do planning now?
To actually construct another house, you're saying, a small house?
A residence that would
A
qualify
resident
under
that
the
would,
city code.
and then that becomes a garage.
Correct.
But even then, that building has got to have a construction permit.
Right, but I think they're saying they'll work with him
Right.
on that.
But that makes that a twofold thing, right? That's valid. You could go that route too. Just, either way about it, you got to have a permit on that.
So either have to construct a residence or turn that into a residence.
Mr. Chairman, let's try this. We set a fine, he cleans the cars up, and then, we give, the city and him 45 days to come up with a solution on the building. I know that puts, it's building something that didn't have a permit, that shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be there to begin with, on that. But, at least, they'll get the cars out of the way, get the storage buildings that are back there out of the way, get it cleaned up. Then they can sit there and figure out what they can do with that big building that he has.
I think it would be best to go ahead and grant him the maximum amount of time to do all that.
We set the time.
Is it 45 days?
Yeah, the time, then,
It doesn't pertain to
the
this.
time in our instructions has to do with unsafe structures.
So there's no
This is
time
not-
limit.
Right.
I figure 45 days is enough to, anybody will make the decision.
I know it'd be enough time to get those vehicles out of there, but
And to initiate, I think because it takes time to do it, I think you could initiate the process of trying to get that building permitted to obtain a construction permit for the building that's already been constructed. Initiate that process and show that good faith has been made there.
Yeah.
It may not be possible. I don't know. You're kind of speaking for CDS.
Well,
What they're able to do, I know that it puts them in a jam
as
doing
far as the
this.
permitting going, correct me if I'm wrong, but, basically you just go in and make sure it meets all the codes, right?
Easier said than done when it's already standing there,
Well, then he have to correct those issues with it. Yeah,
Some can be seen, but for example, the foundation, how is the foundation constructed?
yeah.
And you're gonna ask somebody to make a judgment call on that, so
Yeah.
that whole thing is slippery.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be the whole process
That's
that
something
you
you
work
work
out with
with,
CDS.
yeah.
Right.
I'm sure they'll have discussions as far as that goes.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
let's
You wanna
just
put a
proceed
motion?
on and do that, what I've suggested. I think that way we move this case on. I move that we put in the $400 fine with a $200 administrative fee, have him remove the cars, trucks, and other vehicles off the property, and then work with the city on the not unpermitted building, within 45 days for them to all come up with a plan of what's going to happen.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and probably second. Any questions on that motion? Okay, all in favor, let me know by sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, all right, get some papers. Okay, if you can hold on for a few minutes, sir, we got some papers for you to sign here, okay? All right, we're gonna move on to our agenda. Next, we have unfinished business other than hearings, there's none. New business other than hearings, we have, order to dismiss citation of agenda item 8A. This is deal with zoning also. Mr. Wood, you gonna tell us about that?
That was on the same property. The first one we sent went to the wrong address. We sent it to 205.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see, it's the same, okay,
Yeah, and it was supposed to be 203, so.
okay,
The records, as y'all said, the records haven't been updated as far as the owners.
okay, okay, all right, okay. All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this order to dismiss is on the same properties because of the records not being updated properly and whatnot, so, we'll entertain a motion to dismiss.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we dismiss this case because of the address error.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and probably second. Any question on the motion? All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, next is, we have some default final orders. It's agenda item 8B through E. The fines are listed on the agenda, on the agenda, plus there's a $100 administrative fee. Yes, come on forward. All right. Let me swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
All right. So can you please state your full name and position for the record, employer and position for the record?
Yes, sir. My name is Darnell West. I work as a code enforcement officer for Hopkinsville Fire Department.
Okay, Mr. West, can you describe the procedures followed for the default final orders on the agenda?
Yes, sir. I'm not 100% sure if zoning works the same. Mr. Wood can add or whatever for the zoning violations, but as far as everything else goes, we either found these violations via proactive duty or via complaint. After the first inspection was made, the properties that were found to be in violation were sent a notice of violation, allowing the property owners 10 days to correct the violation or to contact us and ask us for more time. If neither was done, a second inspection was conducted, issuing a citation and bringing those cases before you tonight.
Okay, and were the procedures mandated by Chapter 33 of the Hopkinsville Code Ordinance followed in the cases tonight?
To the best of my knowledge.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you heard the testimony of Mr. West regarding the final orders. As I stated before, it's agenda item B through agenda 8B through 8E. The fines are listed on the agenda, plus there is a $100 administrative fee, and we'll entertain a motion.
Chairman, I make a motion to uphold the violations listed under agenda item 8B through E and issue the fines listed with the administrative fees.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor, let him know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. All right, are any announcements from board members?
I have a question. Is there any update on the Vandiver unsafe structure work write-up? Silence? Thank you.
I've got a question. I know I travel 6880 quite a bit, and with the Hoover case that came up earlier, I know there's other campers standing in front of his place just down the road. So if his doesn't qualify, do all these others qualify that are just right up the road in another facility? So I'm going to ask as a board member if you all will look into that as well, because I don't think it's fair that he's sitting there and there's 5 or 6 a whole lot closer to the road with no trees blocking it, visibly right there from the road, if they're able to be there as well. If you're standing at the golf course, facing across the street, to your right. You got the gas station, it's to the right of the gas station. And I believe there's 5 to 10 sitting over there. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't go that way often, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there are several.
And the reason I brought it up is he brought it up himself tonight. It's not, he's got it, but there's more sitting right there.
Yes. Okay, any other questions or comments from board members? Okay, fire department staff, anything? Okay, I want to once again welcome Mr. Grubbs to the board. You got thrown in the fire, get to see how our cases go. Yeah. We usually have cases every week on the agenda, but you just jump on in if you got any questions or whatever. But just welcome to the board.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, if nothing else, we'll stand adjourned.